cette immense foule qui occupe cette place appelée Wall Street, de décider à rester aussi longtemps qu'il faudra, cette immense foule constitue ce nouveau mouvement appelé Occuper Wall Street. Cette foule reproche à cette place, considérée la capitale mondiale de la finance, ces activités qui ont mené à cette crise financière, les banques qui se font des milliards et des milliards de dollars de profit et des Américains qui perdent de plus en plus leur travail, des Américains qui sont inquiets pour leur avenir et qui se posent des questions, comment prendre en charge les besoins de ma famille. Ces Américains-là décident de rester sur cette place aussi longtemps que nécessaire selon les participants. Écoutez-le.
I think that we're really inspired by what we saw happening in the Middle East in the Arab Spring, and I think that if people who live under the threat of imprisonment, torture, and death are able to take to the streets and march, then I think that Americans have an obligation. We have free speech in this country. I think we have an obligation to take to the streets and say we're not going to stand for this anymore.
Some people are saying that corporates are now their own political activists backing them, the Tea Parties. Is this a response to the Tea Parties?
I don't think it's a response to the Tea Party. I think it's a response to corporate greed. And I think people are tired of losing their homes, of the banks taking advantage of people, of not being able to find jobs, not being able to feed their children. I think the Tea Partiers are upset about the same thing. I mean, I think we're kind of all on the same wavelength. We're just coming at it from different angles.
Okay. What is the role of the union in this fight, you think?
The role of this union in this fight is to support the fact that Wall Street needs to pay their fair share of taxes. That it's time that those millionaires who became millionaires back then learned that it's not fair, that we have to cover their bill. It's time that they paid their own bill. Okay, so it's time that they gave back. It's how dare they get bonuses for millions and billions of dollars and don't pay taxes from those bonuses. But yet the average person who has a home or who may just be paying rent is struggling to pay their rent or to even keep a roof over their head.
You know what you're telling me is such a common sense. Why is it so difficult for them to understand that? What do you think?
Because right now they're rich and they want to keep the money in their pocket. And the problem with keeping that money in your pocket is that you don't follow what is considered to be tradition. The poor, they want to keep the poor poor and the rich rich. And there is no room for a middle class, which cannot happen. We're looking at the 60s, we're reverting ourselves right back into the 50s and the 60s all over again.
Exactly. You just name it, the 60s. It started like this, but it turned out to be violent and out of control. How far this can go, you think?
This can go extremely far, as long as that's why the unions are out, especially 1199, because we want to organize and make sure that they're organized in a way in which it doesn't turn into like it would happen in the 60s or the 50s where they were sprayed with water or they were beaten by police. We want to make sure that people are treated fairly and they can demonstrate fairly in which they're allowed to do within the Constitution.
You know, one of those billionaires you're talking about happened to be the mayor of the New York City. He's just saying that this is very serious. In America, we can turn to violence and revolt. Are you that fearful as Michael Bloomberg?
No, I'm not, because it's a shame that Michael Bloomberg and me pay the same taxes and he makes millions of dollars and I make maybe $50,000 a year. So there's a problem with that.
Comme vous l'avez entendu, les occupants de cette place ont décidé d'y rester aussi longtemps qu'il faudra. Certains commencent à se dire, ce mouvement qui a commencé bon enfant peut tourner à tout moment moins bon enfant, voire même violent. Le maire de New York, Michael Bloomberg, craint que cette crise financière et cette crise économique, doublée d'un chômage chronique, peut pousser à une révolte incontrôlable, comme ce qui se passe dans d'autres pays. Dame Babou à Wall Street pour yolele.com.